I'm not going to get a chance to record an intro on top of this. So we're going to have to do, this is the intro. This is the intro now.
Yeah.
So why don't you introduce yourself, tell us your name, and tell us something quick about yourself. I feel like we're doing like one of those days, like go around in a circle, tell us your name.
I need to be quick.
No, you have
So
all the
it
time
all
in the
started
world.
with... So my name is Sebastijan Bereta. I'm born in Bosnia, and for the last 12 years I've been studying, working in France. I'm a professional musician, flute player. I'm mostly specialized in historical flutes.
There we are.
I also do modern flutes as well.
I know.
Let's not put like...
I know, you wouldn't be put in that box, do you?
No. I just love playing all kinds of flutes. And I also, I'm a teacher at the conservatoire here in Paris.
Uh-huh.
And I also have my private Baroque flute studio.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm, how do you say, freelance musician?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to round it off, what's your favourite colour? Do you have a favourite colour?
Oh.
I've never asked anyone that. I just felt like a natural thing to ask.
Is this a podcast or is this a date?
Well, that's one thing I would love to do. Have you ever seen Chicken Shop Dates? You know that series with Amelia de Moldenberg?
I have no idea what that is.
It's like a YouTube series where she interviews celebrities, but they go for chicken together in London.
Oh my god.
And I've always thought I'd love to
Should we go
do
to
that.
Popeyes? It just started.
Is there Popeyes in
Yes. On
Let's stop
Republic.
recording.
No, we're gonna go to Five Guys. I prefer
True.
Five Guys.
And then we get a burger afterwards.
Oh, Five Guys. It's just amazing.
It
Look
is
at us
good.
doing free marketing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if they want to sponsor the podcast, please go ahead.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's a beautiful introduction. I feel like you've introduced yourself well there. What you didn't mention, which I want to start with, is you came to the flute quite late. This is a very interesting thing. Tell everyone what age you started the flute at.
Well, I started playing the flute at the age of 17, which
That is late.
quite late.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
17. Did you play any instruments before that?
Yeah, I started to play classical guitar when I was 8 or 9,
Sure.
and then I continued doing it until like quite like before getting into a bachelor.
Yeah.
But guitar was never my instrument, and I'm born in Bosnia and Herzegovina,
Yeah.
which in the 90s there were a lot of like possibilities to study music or for the kids to study instruments. Like you could only start learn like guitar, piano, and
harmony instrument. Yeah.
Exactly. And I always had the thing for wind instruments.
Okay.
I always loved it, and I remember seeing wind instruments on the TV, and I always wanted to play the flute, but there was no flute lessons in my city. So when I started traveling to other city, doing my music theory classes, there was a flute teacher and the flute class, and once I was singing in a church choir, and there was this girl who was playing the flute.
Okay.
And she was like, "Do you want me to borrow my flute?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
And literally, I went home, I got on the internet, saw the fingerings, and I was like, "This is what I want to do my whole life." It was that clear. Yeah. And she borrowed me the flute. And I just started practicing. I got private flute lessons.
You have to practice a lot at 17 though. Like
Yes.
if you're picking it up at 17.
But it was so crazy because I really, really I just felt like I loved the instrument so much. Like the fact that it's like hold like this and it's silver.
Yeah.
Just right away.
Do you think that's a benefit though? We were talking about this before, but do you think it's a benefit in a way that you start late because at least you know that's what you want to do?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually, I wrote a thesis for my bachelor, my pedagogy diploma.
Yeah.
I wrote a thesis starting the music late and becoming a professional. And one of my last like paragraph and phrases was something about that. I find like when you start as a kid, normally the instrument is something that's like given to you, like you choose it, you kind of choose it, but it's not always the thing, you're a kid, you have no idea what's happening.
You pick the shiny one normally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would definitely pick the
still do that
flute
now,
or bassoon. Oh my god, I love the bassoon.
Really?
I love the bassoon. You don't like the bassoon?
I actually do love the bassoon.
Oh my god, come on.
When I went to college, my head of woodwind was a very respected bassoon player, so we had a lot of bassoon students in college when I was in the UK, and it made me appreciate the bassoon to a level I'd never heard before, because I'd say the bassoon's pretty underrated.
Definitely, I think it's one of the most beautiful.
But yeah, so you would choose an instrument based on that. So yeah, continue.
Yeah. So when you start as like I started at 17,
Yeah.
you are aware of what you do, what you're doing, and you do it by passion. Like I literally fell in love with the instrument. I still am today. You know?
I can tell. Yeah.
And there's a lot of benefits, and it's quite hard because I always like. When I started 5 years after that, I came to study in Paris, and I was in this great flute class, and then I was already 22, and people that were 22, they were playing like whoa. I mean, I was good, but I feel like my technique. I was never satisfied with my technique, you know.
And in what sense? Anything particular about your technique that you weren't satisfied about?
I mean, when. I felt like when I hear my recordings at that time, I find like I cheated very well, with my technique, everything like musically was very convincing, but like I felt with myself, I didn't understand some stuff. I was like, why is my sound not projecting like this? Why is my breathing like this? Why can I not help? I asked myself so many questions, and I think that's one of the best thing that I did actually for myself, and when you start very late, is that I was very aware of this building technique process.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I had to build my own technique, and I needed to understand very fast why something doesn't work.
Okay.
Because I feel like when you're studying the flute with, not a lot of people can really explain you. Some specific stuff about the technique. Agree with that, yeah. You know what I mean?
I think sometimes as well, if you've been playing the flute for a very long time, especially since you're a kid, especially the breathing and anything to do with the breathing apparatus and the support, I think a lot of people just do it automatically, and the only way they can explain it to someone else is to use metaphor or imagery, while as opposed to the mechanics of it, because they never really remember what the mechanics were. They learned it when they were 6. So they say things like, I don't know, support. You say support more, and you go, but what does that mean? But they don't know either, because they just do it automatically. It's like driving a car nearly, but you can't see it.
It's funny you say that, because I realized something with I'm teaching kids as well. When a kid comes, he breathes in. They breathe like when they're very young. They breathe right away, like.
Isn't that fascinating?
They rarely do. Some of them does, but when they blow with their whole body. Yes. They blow like. When you start as an adult, that was my biggest challenge.
Really? You kind of like fully breathe?
Yes, it's a body of adult person is very stressed body. It's very tense. It is. And I honestly, the moment when I started playing the flute, when I was satisfied, is when I calmed my body, when I did a lot of these meditation and like body relaxations, yoga, stretching. I did tons of stuff for that. And before that, I really had a problem because my body was like, tense, and I had posture problems and everything, but I really worked on it. I was like stretching and doing all this stuff. Because for the flute, you really need to be relaxed.
I think it's the key to playing flute. Yes. If you can play without tension, it is the best thing.
Yes. And if you feel, you need to feel the sound everywhere.
You do.
You need to be grounded. You need to be calm,
100%.
And your breathing needs to be like just,
And it's something we have to learn to play the flute, because I feel like you said, some people are either naturally very relaxed, or they're in a period of their life where they're not stressed, and then their flute playing reflects that. But if they get stressed, suddenly their flute playing gets stressed as well, and they don't understand why. Exactly. As opposed to realizing, no, when you play the flute, your body needs to be like that.
Yeah.
I remember one of the best, my ex-girlfriend, I talk about her way too much in this podcast. I feel like I've got a problem. I'm like, so come back to me. No, so my ex-girlfriend was a singer, and I remember she went for a singing lesson with, I think it was Tara Errett, who's wonderful soprano, who's now gigging in Dublin, and she had said something about, if you look at the way babies cry, like, babies or toddlers, when they go to cry, they don't think like, oh, is this going to be too loud? They just go, and just bang.
Exactly.
And they just totally, and children just do that all the time. Yes. They just go, and they have no preconceptions, they have no misconceptions about their body. They just go, I need to do this, I'm going to fucking do it.
Yes.
And we lose that as adults entirely. But that imagery really helped with me, because I thought, oh yeah, if you just do it, don't think about your body, just bring it, get the air in and just properly commit to it.
You know, it's very true because I think about one of my dearest students. She's 8. She's Josephine.
Okay.
And she is just so talented for the flute. And when she breathes, she's like, and it just like flows, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like that stays with you for life.
It does.
What you learn. But like
100%.
I remember when I was starting, like I had so many things I didn't understand. It was like my body was like so tense, you know.
Yeah.
I was like
Yeah.
But still, like you can work on it, and you can. I think everybody should a little bit analyze their playing, like in a deeper level.
And I'm now curious as well. So you're teaching in France, obviously. Do you see a difference with? Because obviously I've talked a lot in this podcast about the French Flute School. We were talking about this beforehand. Do you see a difference with French children or French beginners coming in with how they naturally approach the instrument? Is there anything with the makeup, the language, that you think benefits French people?
Absolutely. I think I could write a thesis on this.
Yeah.
Because when I came to France, I was playing for like 4 or 5 years, and I got into one of the best classes in France. That was it was at Royal Malmaison, le conservatoire Royal Malmaison, at Pascal Février, which is an iconic French flute teacher who had like 45 years of experience as a teacher. And all these young flute players were coming to her class to study with her for a few years, and then get into Paris Conservatory.
And then they go to
yeah, exactly. And I remember my first time. You know, our classes were in the French way. It means we were listening to each other. Yes.
Yeah. Did you do that before you came to France?
No.
That was a new idea, yeah?
No.
But do you remember your first one?
Oh my God, of course.
My first one was terrifying.
I remember the smell of that room. Like, it's just like,
so
you know.
I never forget mine, because I just remember when I had started, I don't know if you had the same problem, but like when I arrived here, I spoke zero French. I had zero French, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna do it. And because the first day we went in, it was my teacher's first day at the school as well.
Oh my God!
School, so we all had to introduce ourselves because nobody knew each other, and it felt like Alcoholics Anonymous. Everyone's going around and going, "Hi, I'm Guy."
It is kind of like that. Do you know why I stayed in France? By the way,
no.
So I went to this conservatory to do audition just for fun, you know.
Okay.
And I met the teacher, and we just clicked right away.
Yeah.
I loved her and everything. And I came to the audition, and there was like 80 flautists with golden flutes just playing amazingly, and I was like, there's no way I'm gonna get in.
Yeah.
And because my name is with B, so I did the audition first. And I remember like yesterday I played a Paganini Caprice and Danse de la Chèvre.
Oh, I love Danse de la Chèvre.
Yeah, and nobody ever played it in Serbia, and I was like, oh, this is fun. And I did it, and I just played like, you know, I was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
And I went to get to get back to Serbia because I was studying on Academy of Music. Like my bachelor's just started in Serbia. And the most French thing happened to me. There was a strike of the train. On my way to the airport, and I got to the airport and I missed my flight. And my teacher is calling me like, why didn't you stay for the results? You got in, you're starting tomorrow. And I was like, what? And I stayed for 4 months. Like that.
Wow, just like that?
Yeah, I canceled my whole life in Serbia and everything.
Wow.
I just called my teacher and was like, I'm sorry, I'm staying in Paris. Like in a day.
That is when you said there the most French thing happened to me. I was going to I bet you it's not that French.
I had the real French Renaissance.
That is pure French. Oh my God, they love a strike here, don't they? No.
Yeah. But this strike was it was the best timing ever. So that's how I stayed. And yeah, I remember when I started I remember my first lesson, I got in and then I heard people playing.
All French people, I assume?
Yes. Yeah. No, it was quite international, but there was a lot of French people, and I remember that was the moment where my life got changed, my flute life, because there was something about French sound, but it's not like I feel like people tend to think about French sound about all these like big maîtres of the flute, you know, from the like Moyes or I'm not, but like I think for me the real sense where you get this feeling is hearing these students. you know, students that are doing bachelor, or if you
Okay.
go to hear audition on
Yeah.
on Paris
Well, that's what
Conservatory,
the
you
majority
know.
of the flute players are, yeah.
Yeah. This is where I really like hear it.
Yeah.
But there
What
was
do you hear?
there was something in the sound which was so interesting, and it was this effortless playing,
Yeah, that's definitely true.
which for me the French school is just I love to say is like let the flute be the flute. It means like the flute
put.
is like, you know, they
love
just you just let it resonate.
I love that.
You
That's
know?
such a great way of putting it.
Yeah, and then
Oh man.
what you put
Get on the t-shirt.
then there's how you do the notes. There's always connection in between notes.
Yes.
There's always the air in between notes, so all the phrases are just effortless, you know, like Sankan sonatine.
I love it,
For
yeah.
me that's French school, you know, you start
Yeah.
da 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 da,
And it just keeps
da, da,
going,
da,
and it
da,
just
da,
trick-
da,
yeah.
da, da, da. And for that you need, like, it's a huge phrase, okay?
It is, yeah.
So if you just think about the beginning and the end of this phrase, you cannot do like,
No.
you know, you cannot like put the air in it.
No, because it would sound ugly as well.
Exactly. But French French school is like, just, you know, you go until the limit of the instrument.
Yeah.
So your forte will be where the flute is just filled with
Yeah.
the sound and vibration, but you will never like put really like
Yeah.
you know, blow into the flute.
See, I feel like there's two things exactly about that. I'm curious what you think about this. So, one, I think that's very French because you don't want to be vulgaire. That's
Exactly.
like the worst thing in France, to be
There's
vulgar.
the very aesthetic playing in
Yeah.
France in all
But that's
instruments.
French culture, isn't
yes,
it?
exactly.
You do not want to be like the worst
Yes.
thing to be in France, like to be too much. Like, oh,
Exactly.
really? That's why they're
No.
like with Americans.
We
like,
don't
oh,
do
really?
that here.
You do not, that's exactly why the French and the Americans hate each other in so many ways, because they're the opposite of that spectrum. The Americans are not vulgar, but Americans are very open and forward and at the limit of everything, and the French are like, oh, so there's that. And then also something I think is super interesting, obviously I've talked about the French language on this a lot because it's, you know, the shape of the mouth and where the resonance goes in the palate and the mask is one thing, but also when you speak French there's a thing called the liaison between
Yes.
the letters.
Yes.
So the end of a word can sound different if it's going to lead into another word.
Exactly.
So if it's got an open sound at the end, for anyone who doesn't speak French, if a French word's got an open sound at the end and the next word also starts with an open sound, you will then pronounce the last word that's
Exactly.
written to make sure it's smooth. So instead it's like vous avez, you wouldn't say vous avez, you say vous avez, because
exactly,
you join
yeah.
them together. Everything has to join together in French.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you're playing the flute as well, that's another secret they have,
Yeah.
where they almost play like they're speaking French, where everything, you adapt it to make sure it joins together.
Look, what I realized, and I think it's I came to France without speaking French, and then I learned French, and then I was analyzing this because it really like marked me this period of my time when I heard the students play so beautifully.
Yeah.
I was like, how can flute sound so beautifully, effortlessly, and just like being the flute, you know, you're just there and the music is happening, and it's like so many harmonics in the sound, but like nice harmonics, and I just got obsessed by it. So what I realized, like, you know how you should see it, it's you know how like different voice types function. Like some people are more comfortable, some men, with being contratenor than the bass.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's the same with the flute. Somebody who's a bass player will not play the flute like a soprano.
Yeah.
You know? And also like I think like I feel like French people French players, they play a little bit with more higher, they would be like more like tenor. Or like contra-tenor, even because the language is speaking like that. Language is spoken like that. French is speaking is like, and you can also, which is funny thing about French, you can speak it with your teeth closed.
That's true.
Tu vois, moi j'arrive à parler comme ça, je ne dois même pas articuler, tu vois. Ça reste tout ici. And if you play the flute, if you play the flute, you know, you never do in French like these things like la la la.
Exactly.
Know? Sometimes you do oh la 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 la. Sometimes you do oh la la, but normally it's like oh la la.
It is. It's always that. Yeah.
So when you put the flute, it's like oh la la. But if you're like
so there's a natural link there, obviously, with the flute.
Exactly. I'm Serbian, so Serbian is the language we speak very like low, you know. So if I speak Serbian, I would be like it would be here,
Do you notice that when you switch languages that your placement of your voice is different?
Oh, dude, my this is not my real voice.
Okay.
Like I speak very like this. I'm just like
Yeah.
No, French definitely. If you want to have a nice pronunciation in French, you need to speak higher.
Yeah, I
and
find that.
I literally speak on falsetto. Like
oh, really?
on the, yes.
Okay.
You know, it would be like if the sound of my French pronunciation would be the sound, it would be like
I think you're saying that now. I think I do that as well.
You know, I will never speak like bonjour, comment allez-vous?
Okay, there are some French people
cannot.
that speak like that, but it tends to be the boys from the north. Yeah.
But it's still like, you know what's the difference also? It's like even when they speak low, they will never put like you know? It's always like it's like, you know, this part of the head always stays natural.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how, I'm a flute player, so I'm analyzing all this.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's a flute podcast.
But you never do like American, like, you know, like, yeah, I was like, you know,
yeah,
you don't like put the voice down.
Yeah.
So when you put the flute, you're like, I'm not hating on anything or anything. We're just speaking about differences. But it's like, you know, there's so many things about it, and I see it when I teach with the young kids. It's just so fascinating. I taught at different schools and everything, and there's always like in your flute class, like there's only like 30 or 40% of kids that will just put the flute and they just right away produce this beautiful sound.
That's insane.
You know?
Yeah.
You know what's very insane? I have few of the students who are now on the second year of the flute.
Yeah.
And you can already hear this phrasing, like natural French phrasing.
Yeah.
And for me, that's the proof. It's just the
it's
thing
proof.
with the language and something with the I don't know how to explain it. I mean, kind of. But there's, you know, she's already playing like these
with
phrases.
The phrases, with the shape, with the...
Even like when she connects three notes, it's like, you know?
And there's a natural connection. But then, obviously French people do it naturally, and that's great for them, but then you have to come into it as a foreigner. You don't speak French. Is there any tips you would give people who, if they wanted to explore this idea of the French sound and the French flute school, but they can't come to France, what would your advice be? Do you think they should learn to speak French? Just a little bit?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yes, absolutely. Learn how to learn the French. That's always a good idea. I mean, also like to understand how the language works, but also like listen to French flautists. Listen, analyze. I mean, you need to analyze stuff.
Well,
you need to be curious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
curious is the word I love. Yeah.
Yeah, and exactly, and there's definitely this difference in playing that can help you progress and everything, and also the phrasing, and you know, it's just different way of seeing music, and
I totally agree with that. I think when I came here to learn French, or to learn in French, the language helps so much. The language is hard though, man. Like, it took me a long time to sort of get French. I think, like, I speak German now as well, and German is totally different.
Wie kann das in Deutsch?
Nee, ich hab kein Deutsch. You can also speak German, man.
Yeah, it's kind of so good.
But German's a totally different ballgame, because what I learned about French, and I think this also applies maybe to the flute playing and to the culture as well, because it's all linked, is when you're learning German, for example, because of the structure of German sentences, first of all, they're very structured. So everything in German is super structured. And if you use two verbs in the one sentence, your second verb then goes to the very end of the sentence.
Yeah.
So what that means is, in German culture, Germans do not interrupt each other, because you have to wait until the very end of the sentence to find out what they're talking about. While speaking French, you can get by in France with 5 words. You can really have a lot of conversations by just going ba, ba, because people interrupt each other, they talk over each other. What's more important to learn is the mannerisms, the shape of the mouth, the rolls of the eyes.
Yeah.
But all these little things, you can learn French without having to actually like grammatically study French.
But also the French is the language where you can speak all the time without saying anything, you know? It's like it's the art of speaking, and it comes from a very long time. And you know, you said cultural differences, but let me tell you something. I play the Baroque flute, and I spend a lot of time with this repertoire. You know what's funny? There's such a interesting difference in between French Baroque music, flute music, or any music, like, you know, early French music, and German music. German music, Baroque music is very structured. Yeah. You know, you have the thing, and you know, the phrases are very well structured, and it's like, but the French Baroque music,
is...
It's literally, you cannot think by the bars.
Okay.
It's phrases.
Yeah, okay.
Which can be just like so structured like this. There is structure, of course, but
Yeah.
it's like, it's just like, you know, and it's also so French because I always think about François Couperin, the famous French Baroque composer. When he does these phrases, it's always like,
yeah.
I'm gonna say something, but maybe not.
Yeah.
I will try to tell you something, but never. You know, and it's such a French culture. You know, I'm gonna get you something, but
I'm not.
No. Yeah, me vulnerable, never. You know, it's like, and that's a very big difference actually. And you said it right. If you want to understand a culture, go to the arts.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
You know, and everything is written there. All the how people, you know, because the arts start where the, you know.
There's a phrase about that. Did Oscar Wilde say something about that as well?
Yes.
At the start, I know we all say, isn't it? Is it art is a reflection of life, and life is also a reflection
something
of
like
art?
That. Yeah.
I think it's at the start of Dorian Gray. It's like art imitates life and life imitates
Can we
art.
have a podcast about Dorian Gray?
Man.
Oh my god.
Have you been to Père Lachaise to visit Oscar yet?
No, I needed to. I need to.
Man, Père Lachaise.
Père Lachaise. Oh,
yeah,
of course I did. I was like, I didn't understand.
I know to say visit Oscar.
Of course
but yeah.
I did. I live at Père Lachaise.
Oh yeah, do you? Okay. Yes. So you go to see Oscar Wilde sometimes?
I don't really go to the cemetery because I'm like a little bit scared.
Oh really?
It's a scary place, yeah.
Man, the Père Lachaise is one of the most beautiful cemeteries.
Scary.
Oh, it's full of ghosts.
No,
So don't
just
get me wrong, of
joking.
course it's full of ghosts. But Oscar Wilde's grave, for anyone who hasn't been as well, do they? I think they still do. They have the glass outside of it because
Probably,
it used to be for a long time. The Wilde family. I've met his great grandson. I did a walking tour of Paris once with his great grandson. He lives here because he died at l'Hôtel. It was just called l'Hôtel in I think the second arrondissement, and he died there. But the Wilde family still pay for his grave, and the problem was lots of girls would come up to it, put lipstick on, and kiss the grave, and they had to pay a fortune to get it clean. So they've got like a glass in front of it now. You can't get up to it; you have to kiss the glass instead. It's great. But yeah, so life. I think he said life imitates art, and art imitates life. It almost is a paradox. Wilde loved paradoxes as well.
Yeah, it's beyond of people's, you know, if we don't do art, I mean, we're not just humans are not we're not just executing things, you know. Art starts where the imagination, you know.
Exactly, yeah.
We have dreams, we have feelings, we have things to say.
Oh, yeah.
Some things you cannot, you know.
And I feel like maybe
we're getting too philosophical
now,
and too
philosophical for Paris. Are you kidding me? We put some absinthe here and we'll just chat away. But I do feel like that's maybe something that I coming to Paris helped me with as well. Give me that sort of love back for music, because I feel like when you're studying music for a long time, you lose that. You lose the idea of being an artist. You suddenly become a flute player, not an artist. You become a technician, and it's wrong or it's right, and you play the right notes or the wrong notes, and if you play the wrong notes, you're shit and you're fucked, and that's it. While we do need to sometimes bring back that curiosity of just going, I see, this is fun. And it's not important. We're making music. It's not, in the grander scheme of the world, making music is not a big deal.
But I think it's on you to do this work with yourself, because, like, you know, we do live in a capitalism world, you know, like
we do,
you know what I mean, and the life is hard and everything is hard, but it's very important to find this balance and between, like, okay, this is what I do for work, this is work, and also have these projects, you know, that are very important to you, you know. You cannot just be like
and the flute should be in that
just
box.
Teaching or just doing orchestra or all together, and then you have to have like things that, you know, because at the end of the day we're artists, we don't do this to maybe do like super famous careers or like to have money. Like, I think that why we do this is because we have things to say, we enjoy it, and it should be enjoyment, and we should not feel guilty when it's enjoyment, because we all been to the conservatories and everything, and it marked us all and everything, brutal, but you know, it's brutal, but at the same time it builds you as a person. We are strong people. Musicians are strong people, and we're very exposed in many ways. And you know, until you get to that stage and you feel comfortable, it's a long way. And you know,
it is, and it breaks my heart as well, because there's so many people that study music to a very good level, and then build a real resentment for it because of what they went through.
I can totally understand that.
That breaks my heart because I'm like, you went into studying music, you should have enjoyed it.
Yes.
You should be enjoying every second of it. And I don't know where it really goes wrong to the point where people build that attitude. I hate to see resentment in a music student.
It's a stressful career, you know. It's stressful to be a musician. I mean, it's like
it's awful sometimes. Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, you have a bad day and you have like to play in the orchestra and you have all these like, I'm playing historical flutes, which is like so many problems. And you know, sometimes I come on the rehearsal, I play in the orchestra and like it's dry. It's dry. You know, there's no humidity or there's too much humidity. So my flute is like 5 hertz more and the orchestra is like 10 hertz less. And then I'm like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? And then you're like the chef is there, your colleague is there. It's stressful. It's really stressful.
Yeah, but it's important to find the love of it. Just when you said something there as well, I'm going to bounce to another topic, but this is something I love. Talking about Baroque flutes, and obviously we have to talk about this a lot, but you're very passionate about Baroque flutes as well, which I love, because I feel like, we talked about this earlier as well, again, I'm jumping all over the place, but this is fun. The Baroque flute world does seem, it seems like its own little thing. It seems like a much, as an outsider looking in, it first of all looks quite healthy. It feels like a lot of people love to make the music, and the music becomes more important than just being a flute player, as opposed to the modern flute world.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Because when I started playing Baroque, first of all, I started Baroque because I really, really wanted to do Baroque flute. It was just, it's a passion of mine and everything. But I realized right away that music making was so different. You know, you get with your friends and everybody just wants to sight read music, you know, because, you know, at some point you know the style.
Yeah.
And there's so much music, you know. Can you believe, like, in Baroque, there's even like almost like equal a repertoire as the violin repertoire for the flute, almost. Which is crazy. Like, there's so many Baroque sonatas that people have no idea about. You know, we only play like when I was in modern, like Bach, Carl Philipp, Handel,
maybe a little bit.
You know, but you have like some amazing sonatas like from Berlin School, from French School, from you know, all these schools. And people just tend to like get together and play music. You know, you have a harpsichordist who knows how to play the basso continuo. You get the flute sonata, and then you just go. You sight read the music.
Like that seems like we're talking about that as if it's an insane idea, but you're musicians. That's what we should do. We should just get with our friends and play.
Exactly.
And every other genre of music.
Why is that not a thing in modern players?
Nobody does it.
Like I used to. I mean, I used to do it, but I was forcing my friends. Kind of like, I was like, please, let's sight read. You know, I was dreaming about always sight reading the quartets.
Which ones?
Mozart quartet and all this, like, you know, but like, you know, to get the strings to do it, and then I started like doing period instruments, and everybody are like, because everybody just want to like, you know, do something, and it's just like that's how you made as well music in the 18th, 19th century.
That's how you should make music now.
Yeah, exactly. It just so changed, and
why do you think that is? Why is it Baroque is different? Why is the Baroque world like that and classical isn't?
I have no idea. I mean, I think that it's also like the music. You can do music like that, you know. You can sight read, and also there's so much repertoire to discover and so many styles. Okay. Like, you know, 10 years of period in Baroque is such a big period, you know, in all these countries and everything. So and I feel like all the modern players that started playing historical, they also like feel like. Maybe I will say something weird.
We can delete it, don't
worry. But I feel like they come into that like relieved.
Yeah.
Because they're not anymore into this, like everybody are just... First of all, your colleagues, we know that we play old instruments and we're much more... we understand the struggle, you know, because it's complicated instruments, you know. So we understand much better, you know, that you have some difficulties with the fingerings or with that. So there's... in general, like this, a little bit more
understanding,
bienveillant.
Bienveillant.
How do you say bienveillant?
Bienveillant.
Taking care of each other. I don't know. Just being nice.
I think something along the lines of empathy. But because obviously the instruments are not perfect.
Yeah.
So
I would not say that.
No.
They are perfect for that period.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay. Maybe that's the wrong way of saying it. The instruments have a lot more individual character, especially compared to modern instruments, don't they?
That's for sure, because we can also talk about that. I feel like these instruments are so much more alive.
Okay.
In the terms like what I love about Traverso, what I always liked when I first picked up the Traverso, I loved that instrument is in wood, and also, you know, what's interesting is the holes on the instrument.
Yeah.
You can really feel the vibration,
Yeah.
and you're in direct contact with your
the
air, you know.
Yeah.
And also the fact that you don't have keys, that you have to like produce some notes with weird fingerings.
Yeah.
Like, it's, you know, we say in French, fabrication artisanale. You know, you have to you have to make it happen. You know, so it's such a natural thing. You know, you don't have anything around to do it. You like, there's a way. And also, which is very, I think, honestly, Traverso kind of saved my flute life, because it taught me so many things, even for modern flute, is that I don't know that people who maybe don't play Traverso think about it like that. But first of all, on Traverso, you have to shape every note chromatically. So, for example, if you have G and G sharp, that could be like a difference, like a huge difference, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and it's just the note that's one next to each other. So if you want to play good Traverso, Baroque flute, you have to find the position of every single note separately.
Like, that's a lot of work as well.
It's a lot of work. So one note can be like this, then half of degree it can be like this, then like this, then like this, then like this, you know? And you have to have this discipline, because it's an instrument that doesn't take any weaknesses from you playing wise. You know, if you're a little bit stressed, we can hear it. It's not the instrument that will take, you know, you have to be 100% all the time, so it stays perfect. And also, one other interesting thing which really helped me is when you think about it, you know, Baroque music and historical music, all Baroque music, classical music and everything. When you think about the phrases, it's this music is very clear and very easy to listen. And it's like all these beautiful phrases that if you do something wrong, we can hear it right away.
Yeah.
So can you imagine how is it like for Baroque musician to play actually the music? Have you ever thought about it? We play the style that has to be very well structured. The phrase, it has to be very, very, like intonation has to be as well very good, which can be very challenging things on Traverso. And you have to make, you know, I think that most difficult thing in music is to play simple phrases beautifully.
100%.
That's why, you know, 100%. Mozart is so.
That's why Mozart is every
so
orchestral
difficult.
audition in the world as well.
Exactly. So you have to like make this perfect art of the phrasing and music on instruments that are complicated. So it really, 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 you really need to have a lot of discipline and a lot of work.
And a lot of curiosity as well. You have to enjoy that.
A lot of passion.
Yeah.
If you don't have passion for this, I don't think it's
not worth it.
No.
Yeah. But I think that is interesting, like, because even the thing about intonation, it's so interesting on Baroque flute, because it is so much more important.
Yes.
Well, it's important on every instrument, obviously, but like, for example, your Baroque flutes now, are they at different pitches? Do you have different pitches? Like,
yeah, we have different pitches as well, and also what maybe modern players don't know is that we play in temperaments.
Yes.
You know?
Talk to me about this. So I love this.
I don't want to talk a lot about this because this is a podcast for itself, but like we
tell
play
us briefly what a different temperament is. I've talked about equal temperament and just intonation. That's the only one I've talked about.
Today we play in equal temperament, but before people playing in a lot of different temperaments, it's usually how you actually were tuning the instruments. But because back then, you know, how will you tune a harpsichord? You don't have like clear.
There was
tune
no
which
like standard.
You know,
So
they were inventing. It's actually the compromise in between intervals. So it can work. Some things can work better in certain tonalities and less in the others. You know, it's compromises. So actually, when you play with a harpsichord, you can have the same flute, but with other temperaments, it will sound completely different.
Yes.
You know, because it's like this. For example, if
this
you say,
is fascinating to me.
You know,
I love this stuff.
we play a lot in Valotti temperament. It's like one of the standard Baroque temperaments now, but I don't like it for Traverso. For example, I play a lot. You know, the Bach suite with the orchestra.
B minor?
The B minor. and we always play it in Valotti, and I hate it because it's B minor. I'm talking about Baroque flute problems. So I come to the rehearsal. Can you believe? And my flute is wooden, and it's not like heated enough, so it's cold. So it's a little bit low, you know.
Yeah, it's gonna be flat.
So until you know when you play it a little bit, it's gonna get like five. It can get until 5 hertz, you know. But what the problem about this temperament is that your F sharps and C sharps, they will be very high.
Okay.
So in Traverso you have to do Si, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si.
So you have to make huge adjustments just for those 2 notes.
Yes, and you're playing B minor suite, so you have to play something like this, you know. And sometimes
which is a tough piece as well. Like, let's be honest.
You know, and they say, you know, there's this conspiracy theory that the pitch got to the 440, so they would drive us crazy.
What?
Yeah, there's this conspiracy theory.
Drive us crazy in what sense?
Because apparently.
And who's they?
Apparently, the best hertz like tune where the sounds for humans is the lower ones, and it's like 430 is very relaxing, and 400. You know, you can also do these exercises you have like on Spotify. You can hear these waves.
Oh, can you?
Yeah.
Oh, fun.
The white noise and everything. You never.
Oh yeah,
I've never heard that. Oh my God, you should. It's so relaxing.
That does sound fun, yeah.
No, but the flutes in 392 is like so.
So the conspiracy is that they brought it up to 440 to.
Yeah, to drive us crazy. Look at us now.
I know it's worked. Yeah, it is. I love. Oh man, I get so obsessed with that because I think. Oh, the French orchestras, they play to 440 or 442? I think sometimes. Are they 440 now?
I think it's 42.
German orchestras tend to be 442. They used to be 444. That's why if you ever listen to like the Berlin Philharmonic with a carry-on, it's high. Like it's sharp as shit.
Yeah. And you play with the orchestra with your recording, you're like, oh, I don't know how to play in tune.
Exactly. Thank you.
You should be careful with that. And even playing Baroque flute, because if you ever play with the recordings of Baroque music on Baroque instruments, be careful. Because it's not only about you. You don't know which temperament they use. You don't know what kind of, was it humid or not, was the concert hall dry or anything. You have no idea, so be careful. It's not about you. Don't
but I think like when I was a student, when I was like 19 and I was like learning orchestral excerpts, I would go and listen. I'd be like, oh yeah, I'll listen to the Berlin Philharmonic with carry on because that's the best.
Have you played with recordings ever? Like, have you? Does anybody does that? Wait, does anybody? Sorry to interrupt you.
Go.
Does anybody does that where you play orchestral music and you play flute part with it?
I love doing that.
That's how I learned how to play.
Yeah.
Like,
now that you're saying it, when I did it at college, nobody else did it.
That's so weird, right?
Spotify just.
Well, we are flute nerds.
Yes.
We are the real person.
Yes.
You know what I used to do when I started playing the flute? I used to get so interested. My first beginning in music were Beethoven symphonies. I used to be
which symphonies?
Beethoven symphonies.
Oh, Beethoven's, yeah.
I used to be obsessed with those.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. It's one of my top composers. And then I started being obsessed. Then I used to like Google oboe and bassoon fingerings and clarinet fingerings to see what their parts. And then I was like analyzing their parts to see what they have. I was like so obsessed with wind
really
instruments.
Obsessed,
But it was so much fun, you know?
The curiosity is what brings it, isn't it? It's where you have the fun. Yeah, when you play with recordings, for example, I never forget going, right, well, I'm going to play with the Berlin Philharmonic. And I was working on the Eroica Symphony, which obviously the very first note is that big E-flat major chord. And as soon as I played it, I was like, I cannot get this in tune. And no matter how much I put it, I was like, man, why is it that you have to play an F to fucking get it with carry-on orchestra? But that's something you should appreciate then. Intonation is not just an art, it's not just a science, it's an art. I love reading about intonation.
Do you know, you were Irish, I need to tell you this. So when I started playing the flute, I met this, first of all in Bosnia, which was very interesting, there was no male players, flute players.
Oh, wow.
So when I came to France, I was like so happy there were male players. And
I've never heard anyone have that problem before. It's the opposite problem.
It's a girl's world back there.
Really?
There's a lot of men now, and there's more and more. But when I was growing up, it was kind of not the thing. In Sarajevo Philharmonic, actually 2 principals were men, and they were the only men who were playing the flute. It's funny. So one of these flute players gave me all these CDs from complete Galway recordings, because back then we had all these giant computers and we were just like passing each other like the CDs.
Which I miss.
And Galway was my first like discovery of the
Oh,
flute, and
okay.
I'm the complete Galway fanatic.
Thank you, because you should be.
Oh my god, he made me love the flute. Galway is my flute daddy.
Thank you, because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I have to defend Jimmy sometimes, because there's a bit of a trend at the minute, be like, oh, Galway's too much with this, and you're a bit like,
Oh, let me
seriously?
just tell to these people who are hating Galway, like, just can you please like try play like him and try to do with
Exactly.
him, and then because you know, people who are hating something always like that are normally the people that were never in those situations.
Yes.
But if you want, like, if you're hating on recordings, like, let me put you with the flute in front of the microphone.
Yeah, and
let's see how you react.
And there's an
Maybe it's not
appreciation then
easy.
because of it.
Yeah.
Also, I think the people that hate Galway, they'll put it down to something really banal. They'll go like, oh, his vibrato is too much. And you go, yeah, okay. Vibrato in the 90s and the 80s was different. There was a style difference. You can
So
say it's too much,
what?
but there's
Come on.
so much more he does.
Yeah.
Apart, like, people I think don't like him because of the general aesthetic of his sound. I think it's too much. But it's not the way he phrases. It's not over the top all the time. He can do incredibly subtle things as well.
Exactly. But let me tell you something, which is, it's different with people who play a lot, and a lot of us as soloists. There's a lot of logic to his sound, because he played music live, and when you're standing and playing flute concerto in front of the orchestra,
In front of the
you
whole
need
orchestra.
to project, and
Yeah.
you need to have a big sound, otherwise you get eaten by the orchestra, you
Yeah.
know. And of course he had this masculine and very
Yeah.
supported sound. We need to hear you
100%.
even when you're playing with the piano. You know,
100%.
if you're with the Steinway D in a concert hall,
Exactly. People
you
don't talk about
and you
this
play
much.
like Prokofiev, like third movement.
Yeah. You need to blow the shit out of it.
Yes, you will then like play.
No.
Like
And why
no.
would you? Because then you can't even fill the room either.
Yeah, of course. At some point, your sound. Well, you need to get this nice like little sound that you have in your room, which
Yeah.
and you need to project, and you need to have like a little bit dirty sound and everything.
That's
You need to
exactly
project.
it.
Like, can you like Pau? Pau plays like
Oh my
he
God,
plays
yeah.
because he was playing his whole life as a soloist. He needs to project.
See, that's the thing. I think that's what you learn when you start to gig and you go out to the real world. It's not the practice
Exactly.
work. Because when you go out to a real
No.
concert, like even the practical issue of like, I'm sure a lot of us have had this experience where you go to do a concert and you're with like a big piano and it's
Yes.
open.
And then you realize
And
like,
then you're like,
"Ah,
fuck, I need to
I
play
need to
here.
support, yeah.
Everything I did in my practice room with the
Yeah.
subtlety of the colours, like, throw that all out the window.
Yeah.
If I don't do it, nobody's going to hear me.
But you know, I love this. You know what I really love about being a musician is when I come to the rehearsal that I have to leave everything behind.
Yeah.
You know, there's work I did.
Yeah.
But then I just have to react in the moment on rehearsal. How is it like in rehearsal? And not come with my idea. Okay, I'm gonna be like this. It never works.
No,
you know,
it
you
never
just
does.
have to adapt right away. And I
And
feel
that's the
like
fun bit though, isn't it?
we're such a weird people, musicians.
Oh,
you know, that
yeah, we
we're
are.
able to like, you know, I'm playing on a wooden stick.
Yeah.
And I come in rehearsal and I play integral of Bach sonatas on a wooden stick, and I'm able to play Bach B minor on a wooden
On
stick.
a wooden stick.
And it's.
What a gift.
Can you believe that?
It's, yes, I love
Like when
that.
you just like take a step back, what is our job and everything? But like
I do that all the time.
like, I mean, we produce these sounds with
We
our
blow
breath,
it a
which
stick.
is like the most intimate thing
True.
of being a
Yeah.
human being is just breathing.
Yeah.
And like, can you believe how
It's great. I love bringing it back to that. I say this all the time. That nobody picked that up on the microphone. You're not allowed to hear that.
where I didn't say anything. Yeah.
Okay, let me just check how long we're into this because I totally lost track of time. It's been so much fun. Oh wow, we've done an hour.
Oh my
We've
god.
done an hour. Okay, then.
Use me for something more that you want. I don't
No, I want to ask you some fun questions. I should have sent you the fun questions. So I ask all my guests a couple of quick fire questions at the end.
Yay.
Normally I send them over in advance, but I've been terribly unorganised because to be honest, I've been in Paris for 3 days and I've done nothing but drink. I've done nothing but drink.
Tu m'étonnes.
So-
Did you bring? Were you drinking beer?
I did, yes. And French beer is piss.
It's
awful.
what?
French beer
really?
is awful.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, French beer is terrible. I'm
That's such an Irish thing to
dying
say.
for a glass of wine. I was hoping actually it was going to be the Beaujolais time, but Beaujolais not for another few weeks.
I
Heartbroken.
noticed that you like that one.
I know French people make fun of me for it because they're like,
Yeah.
oh, it's not really wine, is it? And I was like, fuck off,
I
Frank.
don't like it as well.
I love Beaujolais, man, but it's not.
You
Yeah.
should go more for Chateauneuf du Pape or something.
I do love Chateauneuf as well, and I love everything French, apart from the people.
Oh,
I'm
come
joking.
on.
I always love that phrase. J'aime la France, mais son est français.
You're just jealous because we're so sophisticated.
Yeah. Right, okay, quick question, Sam. I normally have them written down, but I'm going to run with this off my memory because I'm a professional. Do you have a favourite flute concerto? It's an impossibly hard question, isn't it? Right now.
Wait. I do have.
Right now. It doesn't have to be your lifetime one.
Right now, I really like Benda, E minor.
Oh, yeah, that's relatively well known. I think that gets played more in France.
Yeah.
Than it does outside.
I love that one.
Great call.
And I also love a G minor quant. I'm such a barocco. A G minor quant concerto. Maybe you're gonna
Oh yeah, I know that one. Yeah. Okay.
G minor, not G major.
Oh, the G major one. I think
he wrote 250 concertos.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but there's the G.
By the way,
one.
tips. Go on Spotify. Rachel Brown's old CD just popped up on Spotify.
Oh wow!
With
Okay.
quants and Carl Philipp concertos. It's absolutely amazing.
That's one thing
wild.
I wish someone would do is because I know Rachel has released so many CDs that are not online yet.
Yeah.
She needs to. Someone needs to go through and get all her CDs online.
Can we do a podcast where we just talk about Rachel and how amazing she is?
Dying. I've met her a couple of times. I'm dying to get her on the podcast. I will go to London to get Rachel Brown on.
Please, I want to meet you, Rachel.
She's so. And I mean this in the good sense of the word, because when I say this, it's normally the bad sense, but I mean it in the good sense. She's very English.
Yes.
She's very like proper and well spoken and elegant and just she's great. Okay, do you remember the first flute album that you bought?
It was definitely I was born in war zone Bosnia, so we didn't buy CDs, classical CDs there. Well, it's sad, but like there was no classical music CDs to buy. Like I had to get everything. I used to get my recordings. I used to go to the cyber cafe.
Okay.
And like put everything on my CD or
like
my USB, and then like go home and like listen and oh my god. It was
burned it.
I think one of the first recordings, I don't know who that was, but it was Bach G minor sonata for flute and harp, and definitely I think it was Galway. It was something from Galway. I think it was Mercadante Concerto from Galway, which is like the most
ever done that.
iconic recording ever.
Honestly, I think that's probably the second best Galway recording. My favourite is still the Prokofiev and Funk sonata he does with Martha Argerich. Fuck.
It's amazing.
But the Jimmy doing Mercadante, that's a match made in heaven.
Yes.
Because Mercadante's music is so kitsch.
Yes.
It's so cheesy, and Jimmy does that perfectly. That's a great one.
I love that you say that, but like we don't see that music as kitschy on historical performance. That's also the different, I always get this like people like, oh, you play that music and like so kitsch. Yeah, it's kitsch when you play it a little bit on modern flute. It can be kitsch because the instrument wants a little bit. Yeah, it is. But like when I do play a lot of Mercadante on historical flute, and it's just like he wrote so many pieces for flute.
Well, he wrote a load of concertos and
everything. Yeah.
The famous E minor. What is that? Number 7? Number 11?
Oh. I'm gonna lose my job. I'm not informed enough.
But he wrote a lot, yeah. There's a lot of good. I love the way French people call it Mercadante as well.
Mercadante. Oh my god, I'm so French.
Mercadante.
Can I continue speaking with my French accent? Oh yes, I need to.
I'm trying to convince everyone to do that on this accent. Every French person, people that speak French are always like, I don't want to speak with my French accent. I'm like, please do. The numbers go through the roof when you say
I decided when I go to America, I'm gonna fake my French accent so I get free stuff.
Oh, you will. You will.
And attention.
Well. Man, me with my
I'll
accent.
be like, oh, can I get a black coffee? Wait, are you French?
Oh my
I'm
god.
like, yes, why? Yeah. Oh my god, nothing. You just like take this coffee.
Speaking of America as well, this podcast will come out after we find out who the new American president is, but we don't know right now. I'm going out drinking tomorrow night to find out. It's going to be wild. Anyway, let's not get down that. Do you remember the first album that you bought in general? Or the first music you were listening to?
Oh my god, yes.
Okay, go.
It was, do you know the Rasmus? I feel like in the shadows of my life. It was this like kind of like emo
were you a big emo kid,
indie rock.
Yeah.
And there was this guy who had plants. Les plants, from the bird. How do you say plant?
Oh, like a feather.
Feathers. Yeah. He had feathers in his hair. You don't know the Rasmus?
The Rasmus? No, were they American? Sounds American.
They are kind of I think they're English or something.
Maybe. Okay, because I was big into my indie rock and stuff.
And also, the second one was Linkin Park.
Hybrid Theory?
Huh?
Hybrid Theory, that album?
I don't know, the one that has Numb
on it, yeah.
Oh my god.
That is a banging album, to be fair. That is a great album. Good call.
We're the same generation, right? We're 90s kids.
Yeah, well, I'm 31.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to say your age.
I'm 34, but I look 33.
I did not believe you were 34 when we said that.
I
was
look
like,
33
you're a lying
and
bastard.
a
You're a lying bastard.
Oh my god, wait. People cannot know my age. No.
Why?
I still need to be like the young talent.
Yeah. What I can do is so in the video version
Twink
you go,
forever.
I'm 34. And it'll just, your mouth will move and it'll just say, you go, and I'm 24. And I'll voice it over the top. That's good for Sam. Do you have a go-to karaoke song? If we went to karaoke, what would you sing?
It will
Can I guess? I feel like you would do Mariah Carey.
Oh, no, I'm a Britney girl. It would definitely be Britney.
Which Britney would you do?
Oh my god, all of them.
Do you have
It would
Britney
definitely
song?
be Toxic.
Toxic's the best.
Because she's saying
Toxic's
like,
the best.
don't you know I'm toxic? I'm like, don't you know I'm toxic?
Toxic.
Like, get me few
of
pop
toxic,
lines in, and Britney
sweetheart.
is getting out. And also, you met my drunk name. It's Katie Harry.
Yeah, that's great.
I just invented it like at the Thomas
Like a persona.
party.
Yeah. It's your new drunk
Garrett
persona.
didn't come to the Thomas.
I know, I didn't come
Thomas
to the
party.
party.
We all know
Party on Saturday.
our buddy Thomas.
But I am
the
going
father.
drinking with Thomas this week.
He makes some great parties.
Yeah, apparently so.
It's a hidden gem of Paris to party at Thomas.
Go to Tomas's
Yeah.
food parties, yeah. I used to party with... I was here when Tomas arrived. I showed him how to party. You know, everything he knows about partying in Paris comes from me. Apparently, do you know, like, Tomas takes people to the Galway now. Have you been to the Galway with Paris? Like, with Tomas, that Irish pub at Saint Michel?
No, I don't go to Saint Michel.
He'll take you there at some point. But just remember, I took him there first.
I don't want to go there.
One of the first nights out I went with Tomas was Studio Galland. Do you know Studio Galland? Where they do Rocky Horror Picture Show?
No.
Live. Anyway,
I'm sorry, but it's too touristy for me. I've been living here for 12
Rocky Horror
years.
Pictures. Anyway, right, what was the next question? I should have these written down. I'm going to do them off my... No, I've got them.
Shut it.
If you could have a drink with any musician, alive or dead, who would you have a drink with?
Oh, definitely Joachim Quantz. I would love to
Quantz,
meet Quantz.
really?
Yes.
Just to talk flute stuff, what would you talk about in the pub?
Oh my god, there's so many questions. I'm such a flute nerd, but
You
like
really are, it's great.
But he's such a important, like, he was so iconic. He was like the most well-paid musician, the most respected one in the whole. I love that he was a flautist, but he was a respected musician
In
and
general,
who he was like.
yeah.
And he wrote this book where he not only plays about the flute like this. He talks about, but he plays like about music making, about know, and I love how he talks about people who play with bad taste. I just love how he puts them like
even catty, isn't it?
Yeah, he's like a little bit bitchy.
Oh, he'd be good for a drink then. You could definitely bitch a bit with Quantz.
I would definitely go with
That's a really good answer. It's a very baroque answer, but I like that. And then that will lead me to... No, I want two other questions. If you could do any career outside of music, what would you do? So if you had to do a career that was nothing to do with music.
I would definitely be an actor.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
I would be an actor. I might still do it because it's a crazy story, but last 3 years I did few movies as a baroque flutist.
I think I saw this on your Instagram. Yeah.
I can you believe I
had... Like period dramas and all that kind of stuff, yeah.
I had dinner dressed with Eva Green.
Ooh.
And dressed as a 17th century flute peasant.
Bang. That's as good as it gets.
And then I did
so
like Benjamin Franklin, where I was like this crazy flute player from Colonies, and I met Michael Douglas.
Oh wow, that's a really good one.
It's crazy, yeah. And then I met Luc Besson as well. And I did but I would definitely be an actor, or I would definitely do something culture wise and some history wise.
Okay.
I would maybe do something with I would probably be a historian, or I would definitely be something like and also something maybe with psychology. I love that.
Interesting. Yeah, that'd be good as well. Awesome. And then brings me to my last question. Do you have what is your favourite drink? It can be alcoholic or non-alcoholic.
Oh,
cocktail boy?
St-Germain Spritz.
Oh, I never had one of these
Parisian.
yet. I've never had one. It's is it like an elderflower liqueur or something?
Yes.
Saint-Germain?
Do you make elderflower syrup in Ireland?
We make a lot of... Is gin made with elderflower?
I have no idea, but elderflower is so tasty because
it is delicious,
in Bosnia we do juice.
It's
from
very
this.
popular in England, yeah.
Yeah,
England
and it's like such a nice thing. And the only thing we do in France is the Saint-Germain.
That is a very, very Parisian answer.
I know.
Saint-Germain Spritz. Where is the best Saint-Germain Spritz in Paris?
Oh, I actually know a good place. It's in my street. I live in Rue Oberkampf. And
I know Rue Oberkampf in the 11th, isn't it?
Yeah. And there's a nice cafe. It's called Café Charbon. They make very nice St-Germain Spritz.
Maybe I'll go there. Maybe I'll do that.
Come to the street, let's drink. We need to drink together. Like,
let's do that.
Why are we not drinking that? Yeah, it's Monday, 10 a.m.
Yeah, I'm going drinking tomorrow night with Tomas. Maybe we can work something out. But I'm here for a week and I'm doing nothing but drinking. That's my plan for the rest of this week, after I get through the podcast. Okay, before we go there, is there anything you want to plug? Tell people about where to find you, what to check out? You have Instagram, obviously.
Yeah, just check my Instagram.
I'm
the most
there.
active on Instagram or Facebook and everything. But I would love to say a word for you. Thank you for what you're doing.
Man,
I love your
thank you very
podcast,
much.
and I find for a flute nerd like me, it's one of the best ideas ever, and I enjoyed watching interviews. You know, I really watch interviews from like the whole thing, and I enjoy it. Like it's my thing. Man. I take my popcorns and everything, because it's so nice to get to know all these like iconic flautists.
Yeah. It's so fun
and
to
just to know a little bit more about them, and I just think it's such a fabulous idea. And I was actually dreaming about something like this, you know, like just to, because I would love to speak with all these people, and like, you know,
it's so much fun.
You know,
it's so much fun.
Yeah, exactly. And
it's purely selfish
questions.
reasons.
Yeah.
Like that's why I don't really prepare questions or anything. I just do it because I just want to do this. Yeah. It's fun as fuck.
Yeah, it's so fun. I'm having a great time.
Great. I know it was a great episode. Well, thank you very much. And yeah,
and
thank
please
you everybody
support
for listening.
Garrett. He's amazing. He's an amazing human being. He has a nice idea. Please support him. We need to support this guy. He's amazing.
Thank God you said that. That's a perfect segue while I end this. I'm going to insert this into the middle of the podcast.
He didn't make me do this.
Okay, no, I didn't. But because I'm bringing this episode out this week, I haven't got time to do my Patreon read. So I'm going to insert this digitally later, and it's going to be very natural. People are going to be like, oh, this naturally happened in the middle of the podcast. But remember, you can support the podcast. If you want to support the podcast, it's €5 a month. You can sign up at patreon.com/the Inline Flute Podcast. The address will be here. You can sign up. Listen, I do everything around here on my own. As you all know, I do all the production, all the fucking everything. I do everything. So pay me €5 a month and you keep the podcast alive, and it means I don't have to get sponsors on, because I don't like sponsors, because they tell me I can't say fuck. So go and support the podcast. Thank you very much. Great. There we are. That was great. Thank you very much then, Sebastian. Amazing.
That was great.